what's happening on Clubhouse. Hey Ed, welcome to you. Lovely to have you with us. Just getting started here early in the UK. Must be late at night for you. Yeah, if you'd like to join me on stage, you'd be more than welcome. And hey Ed, how's it going?
Hey, good. I'm barely awake though. I just saw you pop up in the room, so I thought I'd say hi.
Oh, you're very
And
kind. Thank you. How's your
and
day been? How's your Sunday and your weekend been?
it's been good. How about you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. The sun is shining this morning in the UK, which is nice. It's been quite a rainy, stormy few days, but I managed to play cricket yesterday afternoon, so that was my big win for the week.
Wow. And is the United Kingdom Town Hall Club a new club, or I hadn't
It
noticed that one
is.
before?
Yeah, no, it is. It's relatively new. I started it about a week or two ago. The goal was really just to help share information amongst the UK community because the 9 a.m. Pacific Sunday time is 5 p.m. for us in the UK. Isn't a very sociable time. Most people are with families, etc. at that time of the day. So I thought I'd do a kind of recap on a UK first thing on a Monday morning, just to
Sounds good.
share with everyone what's happening. I've got a reasonably good kind of transcript and notes that were shared from the town hall the night before. So it's just a good way to just keep everyone up to date with what's happening on the platform and share any tips and tricks that people have and quiz someone who runs a club and see what else you can learn. Basically, that's the idea. We just learn from each other.
Sounds good. Well done.
Thank you, sir. Well, please stay with us as long as you like. But Philip, welcome to you. Good morning.
Good morning, James.
Hi, how are you, Philip?
Yeah, doing pretty well. We have a national holiday here.
Oh, well, happy National Holiday Day. Good to have a long weekend, I guess.
And where is the national holiday? Where are you at located?
Germany.
Okay, you had a few different flags on your profile, so I wasn't quite sure.
Yeah. So, Philip, if you haven't met Ed and Ed, you haven't met Philip, I think you guys would really get on well. So, for everyone in the audience, Ed is the owner of I think, of the 25 largest clubs on Clubhouse. And Philip has an amazing data business where he analyzes what's happening on the platform, including the rollout across different languages and lots of inferred demographic data based on people's profiles. So both two really wonderful Clubhouse stalwarts, and great to have you both on stage with us. But guys, if you haven't met each other before, this is a great opportunity to know each other.
Pleasure, Ed.
Likewise, and I'm checking out your profile. I'm trying to find. Do you have a public-facing site for the analytics? Oh, there we go. The MOC. Any data
Yeah,
scope?
that's Slovakian, right, Philip? You have to explain what that means in English.
Yes, it's the www.mightydata.com. It is actually a redirect to the English version then.
Okay. Mightydata.com. Okay.
Mighty Data is a cool site. Lots of interesting stats about what's happening on Clubhouse. And one of the charts that really blew my mind that Philip showed me was the rollout he'd mapped of the different countries over time as the platform had expanded into new territories. That's something. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool chart. And it's helped me out in the past with understanding a little bit more about demographics of my club and where people come from and what professional background they have, etc. Super cool stuff.
Oh, this is awesome. I just pulled up the site. So well done.
So
Right,
obviously,
James.
so
What are the
Philip,
news?
yeah. So I guess obviously the big news obviously is tracking the rollout of Android around the world. I think first of all is just acknowledgement. So many new people in the room, so many party hats, which is lovely to see. So for me, the big news is definitely the continuing rollout of Clubhouse to Android users. And I know Philip, have you been tracking this? Have you picked up on it as well?
Not lately. I'm just crunching the data. I will have some more insights tonight.
Awesome, very cool. Well, we've been running some welcome rooms as part of the Fintech and Payments Club. I'll probably run some under the UK Town Hall as well. But certainly since Friday, when the announcement was that they'd let Android be downloadable across the world, we've started to see some really interesting growth from our club perspective. So I think we've seen, a couple of thousand people join the club in the last couple of days, which has been fantastic. This is my Fintech and Payments Club, but this is. And that's really encouraging to see. Lots of new users, particularly joining from Southeast Asia, and I'm hoping that will continue across Africa and parts of Latin America and the Caribbean as well, because we know those are big Android markets, and those people have largely been excluded from being on Clubhouse to date because it's been iOS only. So really, really encouraging to see the growth there. And I'm very hopeful at this point, I have to say, after things going sideways for a little bit in terms of new user growth. It's great to be able to connect with lots more people through Clubhouse. And I'm super excited actually for the next week or so. And we're going to run a series of welcome rooms across our clubs to help people get acquainted with the platform, understand how it works, and hopefully how to get the best out of their Clubhouse experience. That's the goal for me for the next week or so, because it looks like we'll have quite a big ramp up as not only does the Android rollout continue, but also as we continue to share invites and help people quickly jump the queue and get on board as soon as possible. But I have to say, from my perspective, the platform has held up well. I haven't seen any big kind of timeouts or challenges on getting onto the app or starting a stream. So from a resilience perspective, I'm quite impressed actually in the way that they're managing the rollout. But Ed or Philip or anyone in the audience that would like to join us and talk about this, you'd be most welcome. If you're new to Clubhouse and you're not sure how this works, just a brief overview. Obviously, at the top of the room, you have any sponsoring club that might be involved in how it's run. Underneath is the title of what the discussion is today. And then the room is typically broken into three sections. At the top of the room, you have what's called the stage, which are those people that have the ability to speak. The next section, which is followed by the speakers, you can think of almost like the front row of the audience. It's people that the speakers on stage follow. So Diana is my wonderful assistant on Clubhouse, and so she tends to follow me around wherever I go. And then the next is then the main section of others in the room, which is the main audience. So if you're on the top on the stage, then you have the ability to speak. Otherwise, you're in listen-only mode. But the way that if you wanted to join the stage and speak on stage, the way you do that is by raising your hand. And that's the hand icon just to the right of Leave Quietly. And if you raise your hand, then a moderator has the ability to bring you up on stage. And I'd be very happy to do that. You can tell I'm the moderator because I have a green asterisk as a prefix in front of my name, or the green bean as Ed would refer to it. So that's how you can readily identify who's the moderator for a room. So Ed, Philip, any thoughts on the Android rollout from you both? It's been very positive in my experience so far.
Yeah, well, I have been a bit disappointed that they are lagging with the feature parity, but they really, really swear to the Bible that they want to close that gap pretty soon. So that makes me a bit more calm. The other thing which is interesting is that I think they did a little bit of the cleanup. And as you know, we have a saying here in our region that if you want to do a secret underwater works, it's best when the tide is up. And that's what happened a little bit last week, because we also noticed that on the 20th of the May, they actually canceled out some of the presumably bot profiles or like invalid profiles, because we noticed on a quite large number of people that the follower count dropped all of a sudden, unanimously across the board. So they booted out probably some of the bad actors on the 20th, and they use the time when the numbers will grow, so that this fall is not that suspicious, which is an interesting move. So that is something which I noticed over the last.
Yeah, and for context, it looks like they cleared out over 30,000 bot accounts, at least. So they did a pretty big sweep. Whether or not they got them all, probably not, but it was interesting because I think that was the biggest deletion of accounts that we've seen so far. And then in terms of the rollout, according to Paul at Town Hall, they saw 1 million new users come on last week. So if that's, and since the Android is only available worldwide for I think the last 3 days, that's actually, it's hard to tell where that growth came from, but 1 million over the week is not a bad growth rate for the stage of the startup.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think it's a stunning kind of uptick, I think, in terms of new people joining the platform, and I'm sure they're being sensible with how many invites they're rolling out bit by bit to try and make sure that growth is sustainable. and everyone has the best experience joining the platform as possible. I think the last thing you want to do is sign up for the app, get excited, and then find that you can't join because there's a problem with the streaming or the servers are overloaded, etc. But I've not seen much in the kind of Twitter sphere or elsewhere about in other rooms people complaining about that. So it does feel like they're metering the growth in a sensible, scalable way, which is great to see. I think they've perhaps learned from their earlier experiences on how to do that best.
Well, that, and I think they've spent a lot of time beefing up the back end infrastructure to be able to support the growth. So, and just anecdotally, people on the stage, have you seen additional invites come your way? Not on the club level, but on the individual level. Are you seeing them being more liberal with invites now, or not on personal accounts?
They seem to be rewarding the ones which are actually making it happen. So I had a kind of a waiting file for the Android friends, and once it was out, immediately the next day I got a next batch. So, and I have a few other people confirming that they seem to be kind of opening up. When it comes to 1 million, I would be actually a bit more hesitant about celebrating the number because we don't know how many of that has been already waiting in a queue because because I had a few friends when the Clubhouse was booming in January and February, which they applied and then they realized they don't have an iOS device. So that is something which I'll be. And what is more, out of this 1 million, approximately 0.2, so like 20% of it has been outside of the original download, so kind of alternative Android mirrors, which they could do before the launch of the global thing. So all in all, I would say it is an interesting number, but given the potential, either they are throttling it too hard, or the demand is not that stellar as they probably.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Hi Ed, hi James, hi Philip. The As we were talking about in my room the other day, Ed, every time that I create a new, shall I say, club invitation link, that it resets back to 1,000. So I can't even tell head or tail how many I've brought in through my club, but I know that it's going to be over 1,000 people that I've brought in, because currently, if I just look at my link for for the one of the invitation links, it tells me that it's currently, I have 715 people left to invite in terms of the link. But if I create another one, it's going to automatically go back to 1,000. So I would say, if people have been as active as me and yourself by sharing those invitation links, if you're not, if you are referring to the invitation link and not personal invites, I think the environment would have been active in throwing those links out throughout their different social networks and bringing a lot of people in. How much that has brought in, we don't know, because how can we measure that? We don't have the tool to measure it. Only Clubhouse can tell us, well, how many people have come in through the invitation section.
Yeah, Ed, sorry, briefly, Ed. Yeah, I've definitely gotten more invites as an individual, but as Alexander says, they seem to be much more generous with the invites for clubs. This club is a relatively small club, relatively new, and we were getting 100 invites per event. Now we're getting 1,000, and that's the same for one of my other clubs. So I think they seem to be gearing it more towards clubs to bring people in at the moment. But I think if I was more prolific using my personal invites, I'd have more data on that. But I haven't been using those. I've been using club invites instead. But is it Marjana? Welcome to the stage. Would be lovely to learn a bit more about you, maybe a couple of sentences and where you're joining us from and your question or perspective. The mic is yours.
Yes, thank you for bringing me up to the stage. It's my pleasure to be here with you. James, how are you? How are you? First question, how are
Very
you?
well, thank you. Yeah, the sun is shining in the UK.
Oh, good, good. Okay, I would love to sing a song for United Kingdom. I'm sorry. Is it okay in your room?
That sounds amazing, Marjana. Why not? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Give me 5 seconds, please.
Sure, no problem.
Will you know my name if I call you in heaven? Thank you so much. God bless you. It's support, Eurovision, United
Yes.
Kingdom got
So
0.
Eurovision was a big event over the weekend. The
So this
UK
is
got nil point as always. But lovely to hear Eric Clapton, "Tears of Heaven." Lovely couple of verses. Thank you for sharing. That's
this
really
is my
delightful.
support for your
Oh, you're
country.
very sweet. You've given me a big smile on my face, and I'm sure lots of others in the room too. That was beautiful.
James,
Thank
look at
you.
the people you're attracting into your rooms. Come on, honestly.
I feel blessed, honestly. But it's also, I think something about Clubhouse is just magical for me, and I hope it is for other people too, because the serendipity and the positivity I find on this platform is unlike what I find on other corners of the internet and other social media networks. There's something about live drop-in audio that is just beautiful, and I really hope that we as a community across Clubhouse can continue to make it thrive, because it's not been easy. And Ed, having been on the platform longer than probably everyone in the room, will know that more than anybody else. There are growing pains with any new platform and scaling any new network. And so far, I have to say, what I've found is that there's just an amazing flight to quality on this platform. And I love the discourse. I love the magic. I love the randomness. It's something that I hope everyone gets the chance to enjoy. And if you are new to Clubhouse, and I can see many of you are because you have a party hat over your profile photo, that just tells us in the room that you're within your first 7 days on the platform. And if you want to continue to hopefully find great content on the platform, then I would recommend that you just explore the room. Click on other people's profile photos, learn a bit more about who's in the room with you, and if you like what you see, then please give them a follow. Once you click the follow button, you get an option, which is a bell icon to the left-hand side, which allows you to change the notification setting based on the individual follow. So you can set it to none, sometimes, or always, and in so doing, it will help train help train the algorithms so that faces become real people in future rooms for you. And all that means is that effectively, as you give more data to the platform, as you trust it with your tastes and preferences, the algorithms get better and the notifications get better and your experience on the platform gets better. And what you'll find is you'll get more relevant notifications. And in the hallway, which is the main stream of events, you'll end up with a much more bespoke list tailored to you. So if you get that opportunity, do take the time to look around the room. Click on people's profile photos. And if you are new to Clubhouse and you're yet to fill in your profile, I would recommend you do that. Philip, I'm going to pick up on something briefly that you said, which was about feature parity. So this is the fact that currently on Android, they don't necessarily have exactly the same bells and whistles on the app that anyone on an iOS device has. Do you have any intel on what the differences are? The one thing that I've picked up on so far is that it may not be possible yet to link your Twitter or Instagram accounts to your profile. But I wasn't aware if there are any other features that you know that are not available on Android. It would be great to know any insight from you or anyone else on the stage about what those differences might be.
Yeah, happy to share, but Ed was just about to say something before Marjana entered. So Ed, go ahead, and then I can share the parity.
Oh, that's okay. I was just toggling the mic to let James know that I am willing and able to answer as well. But please proceed, and I'll be happy to fill in anything you might miss. But my guess is you won't miss much.
Okay, good. So the first thing is that obviously the release that they had out for Android didn't include clubs and clubs management, which is something which I am okay and I close my eyes on because when you enter Clubhouse, it takes approximately 14 days for you to be anyway vetted for the rights to have a club. So as long as they close the gap in 14 days, which they're probably trying to, you haven't really missed anything. Unless, of course, you were before using your profile on iOS and now you love Android so much that you would like to move, and then it will be a little bit crippled. The other thing, which obviously is not much of a concern for us in Europe, but might be for the US people, is that the payment receiving and giving has been not activated for the Android users due to the interface being not there. By the way, they announced yesterday on a town hall that the whole US and Canada now has the reception of the money possibility, and they want to roll it out for the rest of the world within a month, which is pretty ambitious of a target. So let's see if there's been kind of a vision or a boasting. And the other thing which is not possible on Android is you can't change your preferences over categories which you set when you enter the Clubhouse or when you register, which is super weird because I wouldn't see any kind of a complicated reason why you would not be able to put into the Android app like one screen when you can click through a different options which are like fixed ones and are same which you develop for iOS. So something which makes me think is that sometimes a really simple things to develop are missing in the Android platform, and I was wondering why. And then the last thing which was noted already by you, James, is that you can't actually change or put your kind of link your your Twitter or Instagram account. But funnily enough, if you do that on iOS and then you log into the Android app, you have them there. So again, makes me think what is so complicated about like making one screen when you actually dock it, when we can actually make it happen. And then some of the new things like calling out the profile, which has been activated now within the iOS, is not still available in Android either. So it is not a major breakdown or like major gaps. But one more thing is there, obviously. So, and that's a kind of funny anecdotal thing. But if you remember the iOS users, if you enter a stage, you can change the audio quality to high, standard, or low. Now, if you try to do the very same thing on the Android, you will get an option of report an audio problem or none. So that makes you think like how different the development has been actually, where you can choose the quality on iOS and you can only report a bad quality on Android. Philip, I'm done.
Hi, this is Alexander. I have a bit of a bombshell workaround for some of the issues that the Android users might be having. Now, I give you permission to record my voice only when I'm speaking. So basically, what you can do if you have a friend who has an iOS device, if there are things within the settings or within your bio that you cannot do currently as an Android user, borrow your friend's iOS device, log out of their account, log in with your account. Obviously, make sure your Android phone is switched on because you'll get a text. Once you've got that text, you will then be logged in with your account on that person's iOS device. Then you could use the iOS version of Clubhouse to fill out your bio, tweak your settings, do all the things that you need to do as if you are a fully fledged, bells and whistles person. Log out of that iOS device, then log back into your Android device, and whatever you've done on the iOS device with your account should show up in your iOS account. Now, I haven't tested this, but we were talking about this in several rooms, and I've yet to have someone actually put that to the test. But I believe that to be an effective workaround. If it hasn't worked, or you know of any reasons why that wouldn't work, then please speak up. I'm done.
To answer your question, Alexander, yes, that does work because it's the same back-end system whether you access it from an Android device or an iPhone or iOS device. And so, yes, you can log into different devices. You would just need to have access to the phone number that you registered when you signed up in order to get the text message with the confirmation code. But once you get that, you can sign into any device. And the only difference between Android and iPhone is that in the desire to get the Android version released sooner, they didn't build out all the features. So that's kind of the trade-off they did. But it sounded like from Town Hall that probably within a week, they will be getting very close to feature parity between the two. But in the meantime, yes, Alexander, you can do exactly what you described. And so you can go ahead and do the settings on an iOS device, and then everything will work well on Android. You just don't have access to the interface to make those changes. And it looks like we lost Philip, but to his point about like the interest and stuff like that, I think that was one of the trade-offs, because as far as I can tell, they're collecting the interest on the sign up. And on iPhone and iOS, you can edit those interests, but as far as I can tell, the interests are actually not being used for anything yet. So I think that was one of the things they were easy to cut out. So it's probably relatively easy to build and add into Android. It just isn't a rush to get it out. They said, well, that's not really that important because it's not actually wired when collected upon sign up. And to your point, James, about clubs, yes, you can't create a club until after you've been on Clubhouse. I thought it was at least till you've been here a week. It sounded like Philip said 14 days. So, by then they should have the club functionality built out within Android as well. So those are kind of interesting trade-offs and maybe some thoughts behind it of it was good enough to release, and then they'll quickly trying to catch up, but that allowed them to probably get the Android version out, a week or two earlier than they otherwise would. And that was hopefully a big win for the people that at least can get onto Clubhouse on Android that otherwise couldn't.
Super interesting. Thanks both. I wasn't aware of that hack, Alexander, so thank you very much for sharing. And Ed, thanks for backing it up with some confirmations about why. It makes sense to me. Effectively, the backend functionality is the same. It's just the actual app interface is a little bit more limited on Android.
Your Bitly link as well, James. That Bitly link, that CH users, is that your Bitly link?
It is.
I've been sharing that around with a lot of people over the weekend, and we've been utilising it. So you've probably noticed that you had a spike in people adding stuff to it.
Thank you so much, Alexander. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'm just the one bit that I'm a little bit frustrated by is that I think a lot of people are throwing ideas into the kind of support at clubhouse.com email address, but we don't have as much perhaps transparency around what's on the product roadmap from their perspective, and what's going to happen when and why. And I was just really keen to canvass the community to understand kind of what features and aspects of the product they would love to see upgraded with the later versions as they build out the product. So if anyone has any early ideas, or because they're new to Clubhouse, I think you're some of the best people to understand, why does this work this way, or why doesn't it do that? So if you've got any ideas to throw into the pot, please do so. The Bitly link that Alexander mentioned, if you just click on my profile, you'll find it, I think, in kind of my expanded profile, the second or third row. So I say crowdsourcing Clubhouse user feedback, and then there's an internet link. So that's bit.ly / then capital C, capital H for Clubhouse, and then lowercase users. And if you go to that site, it's basically a service called canny.io. It's a little bit like User Voice, if you've ever used that. And it's a way that you can kind of add an idea and other people can vote on other people's ideas. My goal with that is, as we get kind of critical mass around, the top few ideas, to start then promoting those with the Clubhouse team as best I can, week on week, to say, we as a community, this is what we'd really love to see updated on Clubhouse, and try and engage to understand when that might be. I know some tech firms actually publish their roadmap. They actually say, look, this is what we're working on sprint by sprint, and you get real understanding of how complex managing a product is and all the prioritization calls that they naturally have to make. But it does give a little bit more visibility to users and creators on the platform that the key things are being worked on in a logical, sensible order. And I think that's the transparency I would love to see from the team in due course.
Yeah, and James, some context on that. The Clubhouse team has been, as far as I can tell, still is in a very, very lean startup methodology mindset, in that they're only doing like one or 2 week sprints, and each week they're evaluating what is next highest priority. And with something as quickly growing and as fast changing, and they're kind of pioneering a whole new space and kind of trying to discover it as they go. I don't really think they have kind of long-term goals, but I don't really think that their roadmap is very short. And to their credit, they've done a masterclass of lean startup of what is the next most important thing to add. and with limited time, energy, and resources, they've done a really spectacular job. As they staff up a little bit more, it may get a little more predictable, kind of the way you described. But it's the difference is in an uncertain, fast changing environment. I think they are doing the right thing of not having the long term product roadmap, because users will surprise them with each new feature, and they take that feedback, iterate, and then adjust. And so, to the credit of the Clubhouse team, I think they are doing it right, even though it seems like they might be doing it wrong by not having a more solid roadmap. I think they know very much where they would like to go, but they're being very flexible and very tactical about how they get there each week, discussing, working on what is the next most important thing based on what they learned on the prior week. Which is why, and the reason I'm saying that is that's the magic of town halls, where the town hall every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific. Gives you some insight into the thinking of, what are the changes that were made over the prior week, and what are the things about coming up, and then the kind of the question answer gives you kind of insight into how they're thinking about relative trade-offs of different prioritizations. So I actually think they're being incredibly transparent about how they're doing it, not always as to the why, and we as users don't always understand the full trade-offs they're seeing behind the scenes, but so hopefully that gave some little additional context and perspective.
Thank you, Ed. Absolutely. And for anyone interested in reading the kind of highlights from yesterday's official town hall by Paul and Rohan, the founders, a Twitter user called Nika published a really great kind of threaded summary on Twitter yesterday. And if you want to find that, you'll find it as one of the comments to my pinned tweet. So if you're new to Clubhouse and you're not aware of this functionality, if you click on a user's profile, and if they've been able to add their Twitter or Instagram handles so far, you click on their face, you expand their profile by just clicking just beneath the number of followers and following they have. And as you scroll down at the bottom, just above the line where it talks about the next events they may be speaking or moderating at, you should find the Twitter bird with an address and the Instagram photo with an address. And those are the only two parts of your profile that are clickable that take you outside of Clubhouse. And so if you click on 26 left, which is my Twitter address, you'll find a pinned tweet. And in the comments section, there's a link to Nika's brilliant summary of everything that was discussed yesterday by Paul and Rohan on the official town hall. Sean and Tanya, welcome to the stage. Sean, if you'd like to maybe go first, give us a couple of sentences about yourself and where you're joining us from, and any question or perspective you have. The mic is yours. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, James. Actually, didn't realize it's going to be such an exciting conversation about the Android version. I do believe the guys has done a fantastic job. And I also agree with that it was good enough to release it, so they obviously just went for it. But now it has been launched around the world. I think there is quite a lot of work to do on adding all the features that are available in the iOS version. They obviously had their problems with the servers. I mean, myself, just to give a bit of a background, I am the Global Program Director at Connect Club. Our platform actually incorporates both audio and video features. Because the investors and founders of our platform sort of are into all these intuitive, gamified versions, we've put a lot of work into it, so we certainly can feel the pain that Clubhouse also had to go through with a priority on launching the Android version. I think they also struggled with it, but I believe they've done a great job. My question is to James and Ed and Alexandra and Philip as well, maybe to a certain extent. You obviously highlighted the limitations of the Android version from the club organizers, club management perspective. Have you had any feedback from the users within your clubs? What hasn't worked for them? For example, we had a session with the owner of the multi-million-dollar fund in So we had quite a big audience because we have both versions, iOS and Android. But a lot of the users of the Android said that the standard pressback on the Samsung will kick them out automatically out of the platform. So they have to go and manually relog in. Have you faced same issues with within your groups, within your clubs, maybe other ones? Thank you.
Philip, did you want to go for that? I saw a mic flash.
Yes, so we had the similar problems as seen described in our groups as well. Some of the devices, not only exclusive to Samsung mentioned, have a problem that they got regularly kicked out of the rooms or out of the platform as such. But to be fair, this has been true for the first 2-3 days. Then it was getting slightly better. So I don't know if they are doing some wiring in the background and they don't actually make it public. But yes, these problems have been there and have not completely eradicated so far, but has been slightly better over the few.
I was sorry, Alex. Go.
Yeah, sorry, James. Yeah, welcome, Sean. Welcome, Tanya. Welcome back, Philip. James, I'm not responding to what Sean was just talking about. I just before I forget, there's 2 points I want to make. One was about your Bitly link and what you were saying about collating all that useful data, because we have been the guys in my network, and Edward co-signed that. We talk regularly about power users using the app, and that we don't feel as though we are the ones being listened to, because we're the ones that kind of are always effectively using the sort of majority of the bells and whistles, so we understand what the issues are. You mentioned that, I don't know if you said that you have a link directly with Clubhouse where you can submit those things that we use on your Bitly link. Is that something that you're doing actively?
Yeah, I am. I'm kind of trying to network via different people that I know that are close to the founders, to try and effectively set up a positive dialogue where there can be an ongoing feed of this is what a community on Clubhouse is really calling out for, and try and open up a bit more of a dialogue there and some more transparency, and maybe encourage them to be a bit more, I don't know, not necessarily democratic, but perhaps towards that direction, certainly, where it feels like the community itself can express, these are things that we care about most, and help the Clubhouse founders kind of see more signal versus noise. I guess it must be really difficult if you're just on the receiving end of an email inbox with people just throwing lots of stuff in. And I'm surprised, maybe they have something on the inside, but I think having a more structured approach to that might really help them in terms of, seeing more broadly, these are the things that matter. These are things that people care about. And to some degree, if they did it in a way that you could log in as a Clubhouse user or demonstrate this is who you are on the platform, then obviously there hopefully could be some further metadata they can say, oh, actually, this is someone that's spoken on stage X times, or this is someone that has a club of certain size, and therefore, some form of clout, for want of a better description, comes into the mix, rather than it just being a bit bucket of email addresses that it can't necessarily tie back to the context in which the person's asking the question. That was the way I was thinking about it, so that ultimately it builds to a much more logical approach to feature requests. That was my thinking, Alex.
Yeah, I've been actively pushing that link with a lot of power users in a lot of rooms, and just sort of when I'm in private rooms talking with other power users. The other question I have is for Ed, or maybe someone else who's maybe experienced it. Ed, do you know when there's been talk in the app that obviously you can't delete a club, right? But I was thinking of a workaround that if you, as the very last person who is not a follower, there are no followers, and you are the only person who's a member, if you leave the club, are you able to leave the club? And if you are able to leave the club, will it delete the club?
Whoa, that is an interesting thought experiment. I can answer partially that if you are the only admin of a club, you can leave the club and or remove yourself as an admin. That I've seen in one of the clubs I was a member of, and so there, it's a club that has no admin. So I believe if that is possible, then yes, if all the members leave too, my guess is the club would exist, but it wouldn't be attached to any individual profiles, and so it would be effectively non-existent. And because it would have no members, no followers, it might not actually even show up in the search results anymore. So that is an interesting workaround. So yes, I suppose that if someone really doesn't want a club, they could, and they get rid of all the members, and then, oh, actually, that's interesting, but there's so many followers. Oh, you would turn off. Yeah, so if you wanted to essentially de facto delete a club, I like that thought experiment, Alexander. Yeah, so you would turn off the ability for people to follow, which would remove all the followers of the club. You as an admin can remove all the other members of the club, and then if anyone wants to try an experiment with unwanted club, then we know how it goes, or let Alexander know, because I think that actually might work.
Yeah, the only thing where I think it potentially might either not work or might become an issue down the line for somebody else that wants to register the same name once the server acknowledges it's no longer going to put it up there in whatever search function or sort of availability listing. If the server doesn't recognize to do that once I'm the very last person that's left, will it then be in limbo? Will it just be left out there in the digital clubhouse sphere as listed still as the club name? And if somebody tries to go and reuse that name, they might be prevented from using that. So the reasoning behind that question for me is because, let's say for argument's sake, you have, we all know how WhatsApp groups work, right? So if you're the very last person in there and you leave, the WhatsApp group disappears. But that's a whole different thing because that's specific to you and your number. But the whole Clubhouse server thing, will it prevent you from then re-registering exactly the same name if you decided that you wanted it again or somebody wanted it also? That's the only concern I have, because I have one club. I mean, I'm not just the only person that had issues with clubs by either mistakenly having a typo in the name or no longer needing the club. But there's been a lot of talk around my network again about people land grabbing and then sitting on these names. And we were talking about, and this is another suggestion now that I've reminded myself that I'm going to add to your Bitly link, where there is a countdown timer. You're given 30 days to be active in your club or have members in there or whatever before we actually release it back to the environment.
Yeah, many good points there. And to answer your first question, though, my guess is how the database architecture is that if all members and all followers are moved from a club, it would still hold that database entry. I don't think they would have built the complexity of having it delete and free up that namespace. But you did raise an interesting point about maybe that could be built that way, and or if a club is not active for X period of time, then perhaps the whoever created the club, whoever's admin, gets notifications or warnings and a grace period. And if they still not respond, then the club is removed and made available, the namespace is available to someone else again. That could be interesting. Or I think the way Reddit and I think Facebook used to do, where if there's no
Yes,
more
Reddit does that.
admins, yeah, if there's no more admins, it basically puts it up to the other members of the group or the club as to how to proceed and who's interested in leading it, which could get incredibly messy. So I'm not quite sure exactly how Reddit handles that, but I think that they do have some mechanism for that. But the fun part of all this is the reminder it's early days. And so a lot of these issues aren't really issues yet. So I think the Clubhouse team is probably, rightfully focused on things that are more immediate concern, similar to why they released the Android version without any club management features at all, because theoretically, if you're a new user, you can't create a club for another week or two anyhow. So by then, hopefully it'll be built in. But yes, all these additional complexities definitely become more important the bigger the service gets and the older it gets. And I think they're partially addressing it simply by limiting club creation to someone who's been on the platform while who's been active, and then only 2 a month. And so I think they're trying to put kind of artificial, trying to put brakes on too many clubs being created and too many clubs just kind of like laying dormant. But it is an interesting puzzle to solve.
Yeah, I'm going to do a test because I've used up my allocation for the month now, so I can't create any new clubs. But I have a club where I have a typo that I've spelt wrong. So I'm going to do 2 or 3 things. I'm going to basically remove all the followers, remove all the members, then remove myself, and then basically see what happens. And then I'll basically feedback to the.
Yeah, and just some additional thoughts now. The reminder that if you allow followers of the club and you have followers of the club, if you change that setting to not allow followers, it will wipe all the followers, no way to recover it. And if you have more than 2 admins, there's no way to actually know which admin did it. So for anyone who has a club or is thinking about starting a club, be careful who you add as an admin because they have the same powers over your club as you do, including changing the setting of whether the club allows followers or not. And if they purposely or accidentally tap that one button, all the followers of the club go away. And once again, that's not necessarily the clubhouse team built it wrong. The fact that clubs exist at all is wonderful, but that's something that is, something that I don't think people think through. And indeed, I didn't. I was running clubs for like 10 months before I realized, whoa, that is a very dangerous thing. Because most of my co-admins at the time I just met on Clubhouse, and they were probably all good people. Otherwise, no one made them admins. But the more people you make admins, the greater the chance someone will accidentally or purposely remove all your followers. So just throwing that out. But yes, if you are going to do that experiment, turn off followers and then remove members, and then see if you can remove yourself. And definitely would love to know what happens with that experiment.
No, it says. Hang on, I just did a screen grab of it. It says. Where has it gone? Sorry, I'm trying to do it really quickly here. Unable to leave club. Please try again. So you can't leave your own club.
But Alexander, try one other thing, because my guess is that you've turned off ability followers and removed the followers.
No, it is
everyone else
off.
from the club, correct?
It is
What's
switched
that?
off.
Okay, so now instead of trying to remove yourself from club because you're still an admin, see if you can remove yourself as an admin, and then try to remove yourself from the club.
I'll try that now.
Woo! Real live experimentation.
Here we go. Just while Alex is Alexander's making his way through that, I plan to close the room in about 7 minutes' time. So at the bottom of the hour at 8:30 UK time, because that's normally when I have to get my head back in gear to start my day job. But if anyone in the audience has any questions, all questions welcome. New user questions just as much as some of these advanced topics we've been discussing just now. You'd be very welcome. The way to do that is just to click the hand icon just next to Leave Quietly at the bottom of the app. That raises your hand, and a moderator, i.e. me, because I'm the sole one with the green asterisk at the moment, can bring you up on stage, and you can share your question or perspective. If this is the first time, one moment, Sean. If this is your first time in Clubhouse or in the UK Town Hall Club, we'd be delighted to host you again in the future. And if you'd like to get notifications of our upcoming events, then one thing to do is simply to hit the green house icon at the top of the page and click follow. That's the way that, regardless whether it's me or one of my friends on Clubhouse hosting a room under the United Kingdom Town Hall Club, you'll get a notification that there's an event for you to join. So please do give that into consideration. Also take the time to explore the room, click on other people's profiles, learn more about them, and give them a follow. It's the way that you train the algorithms to give you a better experience overall. Sean, sorry, I cut across.
No, I apologize. I thought I was muted. I was just writing down James on my part, and it just came out. Listen, Philip, thanks a lot for confirming that you guys experience same issues. And James, Ed, I'd like to invite you to, as a practitioners of users of the social platform like this, to also test that what we have done. We in the beta version, we have done some tests with the celebrities, with some chairman of some investment funds. Who else? We had a producer of the Hollywood movies. Everyone kind of give us a good feedback, but I feel that it's a practitioners like you the view of yours will be really valuable. I hope you're okay with that. If I approach you directly, Ed, I sent you a message on Twitter a week ago. I can resend it again. I understand you're a busy man, but I would really welcome if you can test drive our platform.
Oh,
Would you be open to that?
oh, what about me? I've just literally signed up to it, Sean.
Oh, sorry, Alexander. Don't feel left out. Don't feel left out, Alexander. The offer is open to you as well.
I've
Alexander
literally
does some
just
really
signed
cool
up.
stuff. You should definitely get him involved, Sean, I have to say.
I
And Sean,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
I've followed you on Twitter as well, so feel free to direct message me there. No worries. Or if you need my email address, it's just james@fintechandpayments.club.
Yeah, PTR for what I was discussing before. So no, you can't leave your own.
Let's explain that to everyone. So if you're new to Clubhouse, PTR means pull to refresh. So if you click and hold on the screen and pull down, you'll get a little spinny wheel at the top of the page. It basically refreshes the page. And what you should now see is instead of Alexander being in his beautiful turquoise color with his photo, he's now basically posted a photo as a change to his profile photo, which explains exactly what he was talking about. So by clicking his profile and then top left on his profile photo, that's the option that he's been presented with that he's sharing with us. Thanks very much for sharing that, Alexander. That's very cool to see.
So
Thanks.
Sean, I'm going to shoot you a DM via Twitter just so we can.
Thanks a lot, Alexander.
And Sean, I thank you for the reminder of your message. When I saw it, I downloaded the app, but hadn't actually got around to setting up an account. I just did, but now it looks like I need an invite code to be able to actually activate the account. So
Yeah, Ed, sorry
happy to play
about
with it a
not
bit.
making it clear. I apologize. We are invite only as well. So I will reach out to you all and I'll arrange everything for you. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out.
Cool.
Sounds great.
Great bit of connecting here, Sean. Done well. Tiffany, welcome to the stage. We've got a few minutes left of the room. Lovely to have you with us. Maybe a couple of sentences about your background and where you're joining us from, and then your question or perspective. The mic is yours.
Thanks so much, James. I'm actually located in Los Angeles. I'm not even sure how I'm in this United Kingdom town hall, but I do love London, so maybe this is how I've found this room on Clubhouse. I'm not really sure, but yeah, I'm actually a designer and an artist, and I've worked actually with some curators and actually the other art fair. I've worked with some British companies there. But I don't think this is how I've found this group. I'm not really, it just popped up today, and so I decided to join, and here I am. I'm not sure if everyone here is British, but...
No, it's open to everyone. Honestly, it's
cool.
just
Okay.
we use the room as a way to kind of relay some of the information from the official Clubhouse town hall that happens 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 5 p.m. Sunday in the UK, and obviously a little bit later on for Europe. But it's not a very sociable time for us, so we try and recap what's happened and share any tips and tricks and welcome new users to the platform. So that's what we do every Monday morning at 7:30 a.m. So that's going to be 11:30 p.m. on the West Coast on a Sunday night rather than first thing on a Monday morning for us.
Got it. Thank you. I mean, obviously, I just joined, so I probably missed all the tips and tricks and news. So if there's any, like, quick recap, I'd love to
Sure,
hear
why
it.
not? Let's do that. So, quick recap would be lots and lots of interest into the Android scaling of the platform. They released that about 1 million new people have joined the platform via Android. A lot more people waiting to join through invites, but that the app has been rolled out globally. Feature parity for the Android app hasn't quite reached the same as iOS, so you can't quite do all the same things through the Android app that you can do on iOS. But one of the tips was if you are able to either use your own iPad running iOS 13 or above and put the app on there, you do that in the App Store by choosing iPhone apps only. If you log into that device and use the verification loop with an SMS to your Android phone, By using the iOS app, you can actually load a load of extra features in. You can update your description of your bio. You could attach your Twitter and Instagram, and then log out and log back into your Android phone, and it would be there in the background waiting for you, because all the changes happen on the server side, on the back end, and it's only the Android interface that's limiting functionality. So if anyone's got an Android phone, is frustrated they can't do certain things, see if you can borrow a friend's iOS device, or maybe use an iPad or something like that if you have it available. And that's one way that you can boost your profile and attach Twitter and Instagram, even though the Android app doesn't let you do it today. So that was a very cool trip from Alexander, and confirmed by Ed from tests he's done and things he's seen, which was super cool. Other than that, what I will say is on my Twitter profile, 26 left, I have shared a pinned tweet, which was the details for this room. And in the comments section, there's a Twitter stream from Nika on Twitter, Nica, who did a great summary of all the stuff that was talked about yesterday on the official town hall. So if anyone missed the conversation today or joined us late, then do check that out. It's a quick read, but it recaps all the key points. Other than that, I will say thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Tiffany, for joining us on stage. Thanks, everyone into the room for lending their ears. Lovely to have you with us on Clubhouse to start the week this Monday morning in the UK. We do this show 7:30 a.m. every Monday morning, so you'd be more than welcome to join us again. And if you want a reminder, then just click the greenhouse icon at the top of the page and click follow. And that way you should get notifications through the platform. Ed, Alexander, Tiffany, any closing thoughts?
First, thanks for letting us join in, and thank you for doing this. And while I was trying to set up the account that Sean had directed me to, I think Alexander did mention, were you able to delete the club, or what was the final verdict of that?
I couldn't. You can't delete the club, and it didn't give me the option to remove myself as an admin.
Oh, so you couldn't remove yourself as an admin or as a member. Okay, thank you for the confirmation on that.
Yeah, I think there's like a hidden super status, like a super admin if you're the founder, which may be the blocker. Maybe that type of profile underneath the hood means you can't leave. But yeah, great to have a live experiment here on air. So thank you very much for sharing, Alexander. And any final thoughts? Otherwise, I will close the room in the next 10-15 seconds.
Actually, James, I'm just wondering, are you guys like the or are you some of the admins of Clubhouse? Just because of like all the intel that you've given on, I did read that they were opening up to Android, I think yesterday or today. But I'm just because it's so informative on that, I'm just curious, like, and it's a town hall, so I'm just wondering, like, can I subscribe to this? And is this like an update on Clubhouse, or is this other topics as well?
Predominantly, yes, Tiffany. So we're just doing updates for the Clubhouse community. I don't work for Clubhouse. I just am a creator on the platform. I run the largest club I run is called Fintech and Payments. It's kind of everything about money, but you're afraid to ask. We have a team of about 20 volunteers around the world. We do a show every day. And so I've been on the platform just 4 months now. I think